In autumn of 1991, journalist Isaiah Thompson claims that kids in the Chicago area were scared to the bone. He explains as a fifth grader at Murphy Elementary, rumors started to circulate among his classmates for weeks and came to a boil as Halloween approached about a deranged man dressed as a clown. It wasn't safe to walk home alone. He was in their neighborhood. Someone had even seen him cruise past in his van. They called him Homie the Clown. This was the name of a character played by Damon Wayans on the early 90s sketch comedy show In Living Color. The character was an angry ex-con man who carried a sock for knocking kids upside the head. But that wasn't the homie everyone was scared of. The homie that everyone feared was a man dressed as a clown who'd supposedly been roaming the neighborhood and luring children into his white van, or maybe just snatching them and throwing them inside. No one at Murphy Elementary was too sure what was going on. I remember the kids talking about it. Somebody going around dressed up like Homie the Clown, says David Allison, a friend of Thompson's who was also in the fifth grade at the same elementary school. Another former classmate called Bob Chang remembers a kid in his church saying he saw Homie the Clown going by his school in Chicago, further north of where Chang went, and also recalls a witch hunt mentality. I remember that one day, a bunch of kids from the neighborhood and me were like, we're gonna catch this guy, and we went walking the neighborhood looking for Homie. The more people you ask, the more you hear the same things, with slight variations. Sometimes Homie is a kidnapper, other times something even worse. The van sometimes changes color, but white leads the other hues by a wide margin. Just one detail is consistent. Homie was always nearby. It might have relieved those at Murphy Elementary to know that kids all over Chicago and in some suburbs thought the same thing. To Sarah Reddycock, who was at Andrew Jackson Language Academy on the Near West Side, says her classmates were so sure that he was real. That's why you had to be careful when you were waiting for your parents to pick you up. Adults at the time also remember Homie. A friend of mine was volunteering at Oscar Mayer Elementary, says Murphy second grade teacher Leanne Meredith, and a child saw a white van go by the school playground and started screaming, "It's the clown, it's the clown." And I understand that they took everyone back into the school and called the police. Even at the peak of supposed Homie sightings, only a few schools took action. Homie didn't leave many traces in the media. There's a few clips that show sightings of a stubbornly mobile clown and the police force's increasing exasperation. On October 9, 1991, WFLD-TV ran a 30-second news spot saying that police were treating Homie the Clown as an urban legend. 2 days later, the Trib ran an article headlined, "Police Taking Clown Sightings Seriously." On the same day, the Defender quoted a Southsider who'd insisted she'd seen Homie. On October 16th, Oak Park's Wednesday Journal ran the headline, "Police Dismiss Youth Sighting of Deviant Clown as Unfounded." When Thompson asked Patrick Camden, Deputy Director of News Affairs for the Chicago Police Department, about Homie, he said, "You're gonna run this thing into the ground? It was an urban legend." There are no records of Homie the Clown, he says, though records are destroyed after 7 years. He says there's nobody around who remembers Homie the Clown, and that is ancient history. The Chicago police detective who worked on the case and was most frequently cited in the media, John Boyle, passed away in 2005. Homie left town quietly, simply fizzling out of existence.